Hey guys, this is Undercovered all the way from Down Under, and today we're going to be talking about Jenos in Paladins and how he could potentially be overpowered. Yesterday I went and gave my first impressions of Jenos. A link will be in the description below, a card will go and pop up on the screen. But in that I went and talked about his abilities, and overall I gave an inkling that Jenos was a champion that could potentially be too strong. 24 hours later, and I think everybody is in agreement that Jenos is quite a strong champion and that some changes are needed before he goes and gets released onto the main servers. My first piece of information comes from an article from paladinsworld.com, and it's basically a pro player first impressions of Jenos. Now in this article, the general consensus behind all these pro players was that Jenos is a damaging champion first and a healing champion second. Now this is due to the primary fire, which is called Star Splitter. Now Star Splitter has 130 damage base, 24 bullets in a magazine. But what you can go and do through the card system is go and expand that magazine. You can have more bullets, and then you can also go and have inbuilt lifesteal. And that is really powerful because when you go and maximize it out, you get more than 30% out from the cards itself. It's not even a legendary, and that is very powerful. Why would you go and run Tyra when you can go and run Jenos? Simply because he puts out more damage. He goes and has CC and a healing ability and a massive ultimate. Overall, there really isn't a reason to pick Victor or Tyra when Jenos is on the scene. Yesterday, I was a little bit cautious about his Void Grip, and I said that it could potentially be a little bit too strong. Now, in the comment section below, somebody said, what about the item that goes and reduces crowd control? You could just go and spec down that way, and then in the end of it, that crowd control reduced by 90% at level 3. That's going to be really good. You'll be out of that Void Grip in no time. And while that is true, you have to go and think about this from another perspective. Think about the amount of direct damage that Jenos goes and does. Would you rather go and mitigate that through Haven, or would you rather go and reduce the duration of his Void Grip? Now most people would go and say, well, that crowd control, I can just try to go and outgun Jenos, and that, that is true. But think about everybody else on Jenos' team. More than likely, 1 or 2 people are going to be having direct damage as well, and so overall, that Haven's going to have a better effect across the board. Going through the article, the pros are saying that that healing effect he has is going to be very secondary to his kit. That the majority of the time, they're going to run him as an off healer. You're going to go and couple him with something like a Ying, something like a Ceres, in order to go in and have that two-pronged healing effect. But then also you can go and put out a ton of damage with Jenos as well, and that's going to be his main role. I know I make a lot of comparisons to Overwatch, but I think it's really important because Overwatch has a really solid esports scene. Not saying that Paladins is not solid, but saying that it is smaller in comparison, and looking at what Overwatch has done right and wrong can be really good in order to go and boost the esports scene for Paladins. So when you go and have a look at Jenos, the biggest comparison I can personally make is to Zenyatta. Both put out a ton of damage, but also put out a little bit of healing. Now, the fact that their kits are completely different doesn't really matter that much. The whole idea around their characters, however, are kind of the same. This is, of course, with exception to their ultimates. You have a look at Jenos, he fires a massive blast, but then you have Zenyatta, he's keeping his team alive. And overall, that means that Zenyatta's playing more of a utility role, and then Jenos is playing more of a damaging role. But what makes me a little bit worried, and I talked about this yesterday, is the fact that Jenos goes and provides damage, CC, and healing. This is typical of a flexible champion where you go and pick this champion in order to go and boost certain characteristics of your team. For example, you have a little bit of lacking damage, you have a little bit of lacking healing. You can go and slot Jenos in and he can go and provide a really big role. But the problem right now, it seems that Jenos is too powerful in all 3 of these areas. He puts too much damage, too much crowd control, too much healing, and that people are saying, okay, because he puts too much damage out, why would we go and play him as a healer? We're just kind of wasting his potential. And I think overall that this needs to be balanced out a little bit. If you want to go and have a champion that does everything, they can't really do anything overall too well. Why would you go and pick Victor or Tyra, as I said before, when you can go and pick Jenos, because overall he's a more effective champion, not only in the damage, but all the other areas that he goes and really helps out in. With all of that said, links will be in the description below to the Paladins.com article, to the video I posted yesterday, and hopefully in the comment section below, you can go and post your opinion about Jenos. If you haven't played him before, go and give your opinion as well. What do you think based on my videos, based on everybody else's videos, the gameplay and whatnot? Do you think he is a little bit too strong, or do you think he's absolutely okay? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to go and give it a like rating. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under. Out.